Finally, it's time for me to give you my full review on Spy Family Code White. We are going to be diving into more of the plot because this is not a reaction, so just a heads up, spoiler warning. I cannot wait to talk about this movie with you.
Spy Family Code White.
I'm sorry, Yor did what with her lipstick? Why is Yor like one of the coolest moms you could ever ask for? And why does she always doubt that she's a good mom? Because she is the coolest mom ever. All right, friends. It's time to talk Spy Family Code White. It's been a minute, but I'm here. This is a full review, so heads up, there will be spoilers. This is not like my reaction, so I'm going to be going full on with the spoilers. We're going to be talking about some of the plot. I'm going to be talking about some things from the plot that I really loved, and just some overall takeaways from this movie, and why ultimately I enjoyed it. And what are some things that maybe people have concerns about, or that maybe I had concerns about? Did I have concerns? Stay tuned to find out on this episode of Spy Family. Amanda being a spy undercover as a YouTuber, but really she's a spy at night and she has to save Canada from beavers. Okay, anyways, so the thing that I really love about this movie is that it starts off by recapping pretty much everything you need to know. So if you know Spy Family or you don't know Spy Family, the first little bit of this movie is just like, this is Loid, here's what he does, here's Yor, she's an assassin, here's Anya, she can read people's minds, and we also have Bond, Borf, who is, you know, can see into the future. And we get all of this in the first few minutes of the movie. So whether or not you know Spy Family, I would say this is a movie that you could still watch and still really enjoy. It's also not canon, so that means that it's not going to affect anything in the anime. You can enjoy it separately, you can enjoy it as sort of an addition, but it's not going to be affecting anything in the anime or manga because it's not canon. We're going to talk more about why and how it's not canon and what that kind of means and like why, because people had some questions about that. So I want to touch on that, but we'll touch on that in a bit. For now, I just wanted to say it is very approachable. So yes, if you were thinking of watching it, but you think, I don't really know Spy Family, doesn't matter. You can still watch this. And even the exposition that happens in this movie is not boring. It's still interesting and fun. And I still really enjoyed it, even though I know who the Forgers are. I will say, because I watched this in the theater, I did have to watch the dub.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
And I prefer the sub, but it was still really fun, and I think everyone still did a really good job. For me, there was a few voices that were more of the standout voices in terms of ones that I liked. I just can't with Anya. It was a good attempt, but Anya for me is so much the sub version. The dub version does not sound as good in my opinion. I did, however, like the voices for Frankie, the voice for Yor I thought was really good. The voice for Second Son's bucktooth friend, Emil Elman. I loved his voice. And I also really liked Winter a lot. Winter was really fun in this. She only has like a few moments, but she's really fun in this. The villain in this movie is so impossibly and perfectly evil. And I think I loved that about the film because it really sets up like we really don't like this guy. There's like nothing redeemable about him. And every time we learn something new, we're like, that's even worse. He's just the worst. And man, this movie is not afraid to take us to some pretty dastardly places in terms of what the villain is capable of and put us in some hard to get out of spots. I think that's the thing I always like about Spy Family. It's not afraid to put you in these places that feel impossible to get out of. It'll like write you into 12 corners and then you're like, but how do we survive? And the funny thing is, I think that it's really amazing that it was able to make me worried for the characters, because knowing that this film was non-canon going into it, I know that there aren't stakes, right? Because like no one can perish in this film. If people were to die, we couldn't continue the story, and this is non-canon, so that can't happen here, right? Yet I still was worried because of how well they wrote themselves into these seemingly impossible corners where the characters' lives were at stake, and I didn't understand how they were going to get out of it. So I love that with Spy Family, and I love that I'm never able to really fully guess where we're going to go with this show and with this film. It just surprised me at every twist and turn, and that is something that I truly love about it. So the premise for the film, which is kind of fun, is is that we're going on basically a winter vacation with the Forgers, which is happening because in order for Anya to get a gold star for the mission that Loid is on, where he's trying to infiltrate the school, he's trying to get her to get one of the stars, one of the Stellas, so that she can collect them. And they have this cooking class that they're going to be doing. And the idea is there's going to be a contest, and to impress the judge, who I think is the headmaster, they're going to try to make meremere, which is like his favorite dessert. To do this, they decide to go to Frigis, which is where that dessert is originally from, and taste it so they can make the best one possible and really understand the dessert, which I love. Such dedication. Meanwhile, what's also happening is Loid is on a mission there. He basically has to stop these people from breaking the truce and like all-out war breaking out. There is also Yor is there, and she is also having to deal with that whole problem as well as keeping her family safe. And of course, we're trying to make the dessert. So there's a lot of things happening. Yor is also concerned that Loid might be cheating on her because she kind of saw him with Winter and miscommunication styles. She thought they kissed, but they didn't kiss, though they did have kind of a flirty moment, I will admit. And Loid is just trying to also make Yor happy and make it feel like, you know, that their relationship can be good, but he's like, I can tell something's up with her because she thinks he's cheating. So there's also this whole thing of infidelity, and infidelity also plays into the main plot of everything that's happening in terms of the larger stakes. The other stake that is there that is pretty big is that Loid is going to potentially lose the mission that he's on, which means that his family will then no longer exist because they only exist for the purpose of the mission. And so to try to keep the mission, and also because he's worried, because if it goes to another agent, he doesn't think that they'll be able to handle it, he is trying to prove that he needs to keep the mission by going out there and getting that Stella and just doing a really good job as a spy. So tons of storylines going on, tons of plot lines that all come together really nicely. It's just really well interwoven. And in the midst of it, we're just having a nice, fun vacation in Frigis. The thing that I really love about this film and about Spy Family in general, this film does it too. It's one of the few things that can make me laugh and cry at the same time. This film had a moment, the Ferris wheel scene, where Anya gets Loid and Yor to go into the Ferris wheel together because she can tell that they need to like have a moment and she wants them to be romantic because she's worried about her family splitting up. And while they're in the Ferris wheel, they have this little like heart-to-heart talk where Yor thinks, she confesses, you know, I thought I wasn't trying to spy on you, but I saw this thing, and it's okay if you want to break up with me and you don't think I'm a great mother and you don't think I'm a great enough wife. I totally understand. This wasn't a real marriage anyways. And he's like, oh my gosh, no, you're like the best wife and like the best mom. And it's just so sweet, but also so hilarious. It's like, I can't even. I was laughing and then I was crying all at the same time. Only Spy Family can do that to me. Make me laugh and cry all at once. I think it's only ever happened to me in like one other movie that I've watched. I don't remember what one it was, but there was something else that made me laugh and cry at the same time, and I feel like it was recent too. And it's not something that I normally experience in movies. So, pretty wild. It's wild to have emotions like this when it comes to art. Wild to have emotions like this at all, let's be real. Like I said, the other thing is that it makes the stakes really high despite it being non-canon because we're written into these weird places that we feel like we can't get out of. Now, why is it non-canon? How is it non-canon? Well, it's non-canon because it's not going to be affecting the anime or the manga, so in that way it is non-canon. But if you're wondering in regards to why is it non-canon, they typically do that with the movies because they don't want you to feel like you need to watch it to like understand the anime. And I think also because the movies are kind of usually for anime supposed to be something that like everyone can watch whether or not they enjoy the anime. It's a good way to get, I think, new audience members, new people interested in the anime, so they might watch the movie and then say, oh, maybe like I'll check out the show. So when you do it, it's kind of cool that it's non-canon because it just makes it more accessible for everybody. And then also as an anime or manga reader, it's not like you have to see the film, right? Not all anime movies are non-canon, but this one is, and that's what I mean when I say that, and I think that's why they did that. Also, shout outs to Yor for just continuously being a badass. I love Yor so much, and this film does not disappoint for amazing Yor moments. The part where Loid is taking off in the plane, Yor also grabbing the plane when she gets on to where they've landed landed because like Loid crashes into the other big blimp basically, and then Yor's just running along the hull. It was wild. The hull, is that what we call that? The top of the plane basically? That was wild. Also, her lipstick. So she gets this lipstick and then she knows that lipstick, what it's made out of. So she uses it as a weapon at one point to basically flambe a guy who is a really like insane fighter as well. I also loved his voice. His voice was also great. But that whole sequence, that whole fight, that whole use of the lipstick, it's so smart. It's so smart. And the lipstick also fits beautifully into Yor's concern about Loid having an affair, because she hears that, you know, if a man gets you a gift, it's a sign that he's feeling guilty. So if you suspect he's having an affair and he gives you a gift, that's a sign that he's having an affair. Random gifts. Yor just in general being amazing. And also just the weirdness of like, so Yor even getting onto the same plane or blimp or whatever that Loid is on, where Anya has also been taken captive. That whole convenience of them all being there. I love how they all just kind of casually try to explain it away. And she's like, well, you went after Anya and you said it was a family thing, so I like snuck on board. Totally normal, right? And Loid's like, yeah. And then Loid's like, I'm gonna fly this thing when they're going down so that it doesn't crash land into Frigis. And she's like, you can fly? And he's like, yeah, I learned how to fly. It's a thing I did a long time ago. I've always known. Totally normal. Even though I'm supposed to be a psychologist and that's my cover story. And everyone's just like, yeah, sure. I love the ridiculousness of Spy Family in that, when it kind of gets like the facade slips a bit, but everyone's just willing to be like, of course it makes sense. No one wants to see behind the other person's facade. Everyone's too busy trying to maintain their own facade. And this is also a movie that is not afraid to get really ridiculous. Not only do we have that whole moment where we have to reconcile with the fact that they're all in this crazy scenario together and they all have to kind of explain how they got there without it seeming like, oh, I'm a spy, I'm an assassin, I'm psychic, any of that stuff. Anya also basically eats this microfilm that is being used by the bad guys to create weapons, I believe is what the microfilm is of. It's of like plans or something. So they have this microfilm. Anya eats it. It's in a chocolate. She eats the chocolate. She eats the microfilm. But then it turns out that, you know, their plan to get it back is they're like, well, like she'll go to the bathroom, we'll get the microfilm. And then when she refuses to go because she's like, oh man, if I give it to them, then they're gonna definitely take me out. They're like, okay, well, we'll just like open her up to get the microfilm. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're gonna what? One, that I was not expecting them to go there in this movie because that's so dark. But two, then we also have when Anya really has to go to the bathroom, and when she does end up going to the bathroom, like when she gets close to it, we get this whole like fantasy of her imagining going to the bathroom. We get a whole poop animation, guys. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube, but that's a thing that happens. And the animators went all out on this, man. They had so much fun making this animation for us, and it looks beautiful, and it's also so funny. It's so ridiculous. The animation in general in this movie is fantastic, and I can't believe that we were able to weave this into the plot and also make it look so good. But there's more animation, although that set of animation is definitely by far the best in the entire film, I gotta say. But the shot as well, where Loid is flying the plane and he's heading towards like the blimp to try to get Anya and stop all this crazy stuff from happening. We get this kind of zoom in on him. Oh, that shot is so good. Also just the setting of Frigis. I feel like they had so much fun animating and drawing that, and it's so beautiful. And the fashion. I love the outfits in this movie. Everyone looks so good. And it's making me want to do like a winter cosplay. Like I want Anya's outfit. I want to do a grown-up like Anya in her Frigis outfit because I loved it so much. Now, I did read some reviews on this movie where people said, you know, oh, this was more of the action and not enough of the slice of life. And I feel like some people may want more of one than the other in comparison to like what we got in here. But I personally felt like it was a pretty perfect blend of the two. And for me, Spy Family is very much that. It is equal parts spy, it is equal parts family. So it is this action, thriller, spy, like drama that's really intense. But then it's also this like slice of life, like just cuteness. Sometimes it's very simple. It can still be dramatic dramatic, and both of them can also still be funny. So for me, it was a perfect blend of that. I thought we got a lot of action, but I also thought we got a lot of slice of life moments, especially near the first half or first 2/3 of the film when they're in Frigis and they're trying to get the ingredients to make the meremere, and they're going to try it, and they're going, you know, and seeing the festival and going on the rides and all of that stuff, and Yor's slamming down the mulled wine. All of that was very slice of life to me and very fun. The whole infidelity plot is very slice of life. Each character in this also has their own specific plot, and I really liked that. It, like I said, it is a beautiful weaving of all of these different threads that really come together, I think, in a really great way that's very satisfying. It's got a lot of layers to it, and I love that about this story. The movie is also really big. Like, it's a pretty long movie for an animated movie, but it doesn't overstay its welcome because it's so full of just so many amazing moments that are exciting, that are heartfelt, that are funny, that are cute, and it just kind of keeps you engaged the entire time. So it never felt like it was overly long, but it is a movie that I will say maybe for younger kids, one, there's some kind of adult, I guess some stuff maybe might be a little bit too scary, and also there is like a swear in it. I was surprised. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like a mild one, but it's in there. And it is kind of long. So just for littler kids, I'm not sure if they'll be able to sit for the entire time. But other than that, it is, I think, a really great like family movie, and it's got a lot in it, man. But you'll be focused the entire time. You won't ever be checking your watch in this movie, I'll tell you that much. Overall, it kind of ends on a sequel with this idea that they might be going to a place that would be like a summer vacation, and they might have to do that later. And I do hope we get the summer vacation Spy Family sequel because I really loved this movie. I loved it so much, I gave it an overall rating of 5 out of 5 after I watched it during my immediate reaction. And having had a few weeks pass, I'm going to stick with that. It really was a really great film. And I think I would also go back to it too. I think it's got a lot of rewatchability. I think Spy Family is just a thing that I always want to go back to. It just feels so heartwarming, you know? So overall, those are my thoughts on Spy Family Code White. I really loved it. I thought it was really fun. I think it does a great job of representing the anime. So if you also do like this film, if you watch it and you really loved it, I would definitely recommend you check out the manga or the anime. Check out some more Spy Family. It's really great. It's really fun. I need to catch up on it, but I am excited to because every time I watch Spy Family, it's like, I can't stop. I just want to keep watching. It's just like next episode, next episode. So yeah, I can't wait. All right, friends, that's it for me on this one. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay nerdy.